right, I'd like to welcome everybody back to another fantastic episode here of Behind the Desk, where we do an in-depth with CEOs, VPs, business leaders, and innovators around the world. Today's guest is David English, the healthcare operator, founder who has led $300 million in lab organizations, secured over $100 million in equity, and now sits at the cutting edge of AI-driven healthcare automation with Ascendant Biomedical. If you've ever wondered how AI, finance, and real-world operations collide to transform patient care and profitability, this is the conversation you don't want to miss. David, if you would, go ahead, introduce yourself, your company, and your position you hold.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Dave English. I'm the managing director of Ascendant Biomedical. We are a kind of a niche, smaller boutique company for AI, building AI platforms. We're fairly new to the AI space, but I've been doing healthcare involved with diagnostics, hospitals, laboratories, also operations for over 30 years. I've actually helped commercialize a blood test for colon cancer screening, and been the CEO of three different physician practices and surgical centers as well. So I've been around the block a little bit.
Incredible. So you got a little bit under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
David, for listeners who don't really know who you are yet, how do you describe what you do today at Ascend Biomedical in 1 to 2 sentences?
What we do is basically find ways to get in quick. We like to say that we will actually come in, and within 30 days, we will have a solution ready for someone. We are changing the paradigm because we don't want to stay forever. We want to come in, we want to fix, we want to create opportunities where we can build, and then we leave, and we're gone. There's a lot going on, and we've actually collapsed the timelines of implementations, because with AI, it's eliminating a lot of the stuff that you had to do with proofs of concept and things like that. You can actually do modeling and do things so you can get through it and get to it a lot faster.
Wow. Now, you've led everything from oncology diagnostics to large lab operations at SnorQuest, and now an AI-driven advisory firm. What's the line that's really kept you in healthcare all these years?
I think one of the things that really gets to me and it motivates me is helping people, the compassion, providing great patient outcomes. I like to say, in the culture that we have, we say there's 3 things that are important, and I'll actually use this. I also use this within my physician practices as well. We want safety first. Safety is always of the paramount importance. Then it's great patient outcomes and taking care of the patients with respect and compassion. And then thirdly is building teams that are accepting and also welcoming, so everybody feels that they're bringing something to the party and making things great. And fourth is being people of our word, so that we build trust and we build confidence in when we say we're going to do something, we do it. And I think that when you do those 4 things, a lot of the other stuff really takes care of itself.
I couldn't agree more. That's a really good thing. I mean, a lot of times that's what we look for when it comes to healthcare and things like that. Looking back across those, CEO and commercial leadership roles, what's one experience that really shaped how you think about building and leading teams today?
I learned this. Well, I'm a Marine. The first thing is you always lead by example, and you never do something that never ask your team to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. You need to be bought in. You need to be leading the way. And I grew up with that. I was an officer in the Marine Corps. I learned that, but one of the most impactful times and situations I was at UCLA Medical Center. We were working on a project, and we were actually providing Lean Six Sigma training and doing processes. And we were actually moving from what was called the old Westwood Teaching Hospital to the new Reagan Medical Center. It's not new anymore. It was like, 15 years ago. But what I saw, we were getting ready to do some training, and we had about 20 people in this classroom, and they were all sitting around this big table, and everybody's hanging back. They're just like, well, why am I here? What's going on? And the chief operating officer of the entire system, his name's Amir Rubin, he came in and he just sat down at the table like everybody else. He opened his book, he leaned forward, and he was ready to learn. And when he did that, you could see the whole dynamic of the room change. And it was just leading by example. It was just like, hey, if the chief operating officer of the system is here and thinks this is important, and he's spending the time and investing the time in it, then this must be important. And it just got everybody, changed the whole dynamic of the room and the training. It was wonderful. I'll say this just to give him a little plug. He went from there to UCLA, became the CEO of Stanford Medical Center, and then he became executive VP for United Healthcare, and then he left that and actually started a little company called One Medical. You might have heard of that company. That and he sold it to Amazon for $3 billion.
Wow.
Yeah.
But just a small little profit.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it's just those sorts of things, and a lot of it is just getting people lined up, aligning people, getting them bought in that what we're doing is important, and helping them understand why. And then I actually had another person say, "You're the CEO. Yeah, you're a cheerleader. You're getting everyone fired up. You're getting everyone. There's a lot of other things, but you're still. The people need to buy in, and when you have people bought in, it makes everything better."
Yeah, the teamwork, the we. I think too many people they don't include themselves in doing the work because they would rather watch many others do the work for them. So I also I want to take a moment and just thank you for your services.
Oh, it was my honor to serve. It was my honor.
I want to thank you truly, and all those men and women out there still serving today, both past, present, and who will be in the future. So thank them. You've seen healthcare from early stage startups to 300 million plus operations. What do you think you do differently now because of the range of experience?
It's kind of interesting because I actually started off big and went to smaller organizations throughout my career, but I actually, I heard someone say this a couple times. When you're in larger organizations, I think sometimes it's actually easier to lead in those organizations because your people have their things, and you also know that in a large company, there's kind of a bit of a corporate safety net, so to speak.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're doing more entrepreneurial, or you're working and you're actually interacting with people on a daily basis, you get intertwined in their lives, and it becomes, I don't like to say it becomes personal. It's like you really, I'll say decisions that I make now, because we are smaller organizations, and when we make a decision, it might be affecting somebody financially, or it might be doing something, it might be helping someone with their career growth or something, but you really know that person. So you're invested in them that much more. So I think it's more personal. I absolutely love it. but it can be tough too sometimes. And I'm just thankful to have the opportunity to lead and to have people trust in me to help guide us. But I'm thankful as well because I'm not afraid to make a decision, but I prefer that to build through consensus and through teamwork and team building.
So, before the decisions were corporate based versus today, it's who's this going to impact within our own organization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On a personal level, like what part of your work actually most gives you the most energy right now? Is it like closing the big deals? Is it working with founders, or is it solving that like unobtainable, gnarly operational problem?
I think the biggest thing that gives me energy is being with the people every day. I feed off of that. I love the energy, and it's. I also, the other thing that motivates the heck out of me is EMTs, emergency medical technicians. We actually have them get along farther in their career. She's actually going for ultrasound tech training, and she was flustered, and I helped her get a B on her algebra. I take pride, and I think one of the things I do not, when somebody is moving on or maybe doing something in their career, I do not take it personally if someone comes to me and says, "Hey, Dave, I have an opportunity. I'm going to do something else, and I'm going to be leaving."
The more amazing work. Not only are you the CEO, but you're a teacher.
Yeah,
which is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love that. It's like helping people, and I have people that have left me in one role. They've either come back to me within the same company, but in a different role, a more advanced role, or have met me somewhere else down the road in another company, and we've gotten back together. One of my mentors, the Sonora Quest CEO, I remember after I left Sonora Quest, I was doing some international consulting, and I said to him, we had lunch, and I said, I just wanted to ask your permission that if I come up with some business ideas or something that might help the company, is it okay if I come back to the company and introduce these ideas? And he said, heck yeah. He said, you're part of the family. He said, our roles are changed and how we might interact together, but you're always going to be one of us. And I learned that, and that's the way it should be.
I couldn't agree more.
Being of service to other people. I find there's not only is it gratifying to be of service to other people and you're helping them out, but I also find that maybe if you're going through a rough patch, helping somebody else out helps you get out of your head and helps you get into what helps you get seeing things a little bit better, and also doing that. And invariably, while you're doing that and you're not sitting and stewing about something, those good things start. You maybe get an idea or something else happens, but you're not sitting waiting around. You're being active, you're being productive, and you're going after it. And then it takes care of itself.
Well spoken. Couldn't agree more with you. Servicing others is definitely a great way to get out of your own head and really give back, right? Sometimes when you take focus off of the problem at hand, the solution will show itself.
Right. Absolutely.
Give us a quick snapshot of Ascend Biomedical. Like, who do you serve, and what kinds of problems are you solving day to day?
Yeah. What we do, a couple of different projects. We have some revenue cycle management projects for billing and coding. A project that we've worked and we've completed that was very successful. We actually designed a AI platform that could go into an EMR, electronic medical record, scrape the patient demographics and also the chart notes, And instead of it taking, we were working with a group of hospitals in South America, and it was really cool. It was a great project down in Brazil. The hospital had 3 full-time nurses. It wasn't a big hospital either. It was about a 150-bed hospital. And they had 3 full-time nurses, and their sole job was to take the data off the EMR system and then try to summarize it and parse it down to a couple paragraphs of what the patient condition was. And they were spending anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes per patient per admission, and then using that parsed down to get to a code, the DRG code, which is a diagnosis related groups for the admission to the hospital, how you charge for it and everything. And we actually did it. We took it from 30 to 45 minutes to 30 to 45 seconds. And we actually took it that we not only did that, but while we were building it and getting it ready for the DRG, we actually worked on it, and we actually took it a step further. We did it with ICD-10 codes for justification codes, and then also for CPT codes, so that we could actually order properly and do it in a quick manner. And we actually we've done a pilot where we did it in a group of 60,000 patient population, kind of like a accountable care organization up here. They call them collectives. It's kind of crazy though, because down in Brazil, the private insurance companies actually own the hospitals, and the physicians are employees of the insurance company. And we actually, by doing this, we actually saved them about it was about $3 million on a budget of about 50 million. So we saved 6% and put it directly to the bottom line.
Wow.
And actually, if you take a look at it, they were doing about $3 or $4 million in profit on the 50 million. And so we basically, by doing this simple task and doing these things and making the experience easier and faster, we doubled their profit. And so we're actually now rolling that over for 60,000, and we're actually expanding it out. It's going to be another, they have actually 300 sub-collectives in the 18 million person patient population. So we're rolling it out to across the board.
Wow. I mean, not to do a plug, right? But I've just on my LinkedIn page, I'm actually doing like 5 myths of, what people actually see AI as. And here you took a great example of you're helping condense time that was being wasted hours and hours and hours a week down to, fractional of the time. And they didn't lose a job. They just became more efficient.
Yeah. And the other thing too is the nurses weren't disappointed in the least, because they said, "Oh, well, I get to now go do nurse things. I'm actually working with people and putting my hands on them and helping them get better. I'm not stuck in front of a screen."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Your position at Ascend at the intersection of like AI, finance, and healthcare management. How does that actually show up in a typical engagement?
Well, I think a lot of it is we find the pain points from we come in and do a quick assessment, and we'll actually our model, like I said, we're collapsing things and collapsing the approach. We originally started where we kind of took the traditional, let's do an assessment, and then let's build a business case, and then let's do a proof of concept, and then that turns into developing a prototype, and then that turns into going into production. And that was 6, 8, 12 months sort of time frame to actually do it. we actually, with the things that were happening with AI and the ability to build platforms and do things more quickly, we can actually say to somebody, you know what, let's do a 2-hour ideation session on what we would like to do. And then based upon that, we actually say, you know what, based upon this, we think that we can do this and we can achieve what the result you're looking for. And maybe it's, instead of hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to do huge consulting sorts of things and stuff like that, we say, we think we can do this in 30 days or 60 days. So we actually say, we're not even going to ask you for any money up front. We're just going to have you sign an agreement with us that when we're successful in 30 to 60 days, you're going to pay us the fee at the end when we have hard metrics and measurables. If we do this, you're paying us. And then we're prepared to leave. Now, if they say, and what we've actually found, it's kind of fun because it's like my UCLA Medical Center one. After I did a successful project there, they found like 4 or 5 other projects for us to do because we did so well with it. And that's kind of where we're going with this. But we like to say we want quick projects, 30 to 60 day projects that we can actually do it, fix it. I've been doing some pretty cool AI stuff. And I mean, I'm 61 years old. I've been in healthcare since 1992. So I've been in 34 years. And the amount of things that you can get done now compared to 34, 35 years ago, it's mind-boggling. And I'm grateful to see it. I'm also grateful for it because I love to say that computing, the rate and growth of computing is what is driving the innovation and the ability to innovate and keep getting to more cures, getting to more things, making life better for everybody. Because think about it. When they were doing stuff back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it would take 5-10 years for a drug to be tested and stuff. And it wasn't as much that the test took that long. It was more grinding on all the data and figuring out everything that needed to be done for it. Mm-hmm. Now you can get that same stuff done in weeks rather than years. And that's where this is going. It's finding problems. It's empowering people to, I like to say I worked for Roche Diagnostics, and we used to say we empower rather than impose. And it's like, you can help people get, like everything else, it's helping people get to where they need to be or where they want to be. And that's, when you're doing that, you're making it about the other person. It becomes so much easier. I like to say I'm a glasses 3/4 full kind of guy. I look for the better in people, and I also want to help them get to the better if I can help them.
As I venture, right, and as we see technology and implementation of AI tools, there's this fear factor, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to lose a job. It's going to take over. We don't need this. How are you combating and how are you helping your clientele understand that, no, this is a tool that's going to aid, it's going to increase efficiencies, it will increase revenue, your ROI. What kind of a step are you taking to build that kind of trust with them, as you spoke earlier? And then what kind of objections are you having right now that are your most common and most difficult to overcome with people?
I like to kind of do it a little bit differently. I like to help the person figure out what they're missing out on if they don't do it.
Love that. How do you do that?
I say, well, you know what? this is an important thing, but this can't, you're working and kind of trying to make this data all connect and work together. Is that really what you envision this job being? Isn't it more about patience than working on the data, doing things like this? One of the things I discovered was with Sonora Quest. I actually did go back to them later and provided a solution, and it was for patient responsibility at time of service for the amount, like the copay or whatever they owe. And it was interesting because, and I learned so much, and I'm grateful to all the people that when they spend time with me, because I'm learning all the time with them. We were talking, and I said, and I had actually been involved with this from it was kind of a pain where someone comes in and they present their like little insurance card sort of thing. Now it says there's a $25 copay for the insurance. But what we were running into was when a patient, and this is actually, I'm working on a project just like this within Ascendant Biomedical, but when a patient comes in, they present the card, they pay their $25, but they haven't, maybe we didn't know yet if the patient had met their deductible. So Sonora Quest does $350, or let's say $400 of lab work for this patient. Well, they send it, they process it, they send it up, and then 60 days later, United Healthcare says to Sonora Quest, oh, by the way, Mr. Jones hadn't met his deductible yet, so you have to go collect for the other $375. So not only is the patient ticked off because you're coming out of nowhere and surprising them when they thought that they paid what they needed to pay you, but I'll give you another. There was a gentleman named Al Namey, just a great guy. He's a CFO of Sonora Quest. We were sitting there talking about this, and he said, he says, if we don't collect the money at time of service, we will lose 40 cents on the dollar of that money.
Wow.
And that turned into about $20 million for them that they were losing at the time by not getting it at time of service. But but the patient's ticked off. You're wasting time and cycles trying to get it. You're doing all these things. Whereas when what we did, we actually had a system that could go up and it could actually query the insurance and say, hey, have they met their deductible yet? And if they hadn't, they'd say, it's a $400 service. What is the amount that we forecast that we're going to get back, or what we're going to have to go collect? And it might say the whole 400. It might say maybe it's halfway there. It's 200 out of the 400. So we could then say, hey, you know what? We checked with your insurance, and because you haven't met your deductible yet, this is the amount that you're going to owe. How would you like to take care of that today? And it was straight. It was upfront. It was transparent. It was just basically, hey, this is what it is. And we told them, and they say, well, how do you know if it's a forecast? We say, well, you know what? This is what it is. But we will, when you get your explanation of benefits, if it's not, and we'll be getting them too. If we don't. If it wasn't required, maybe it was you only owed $150 instead of $200, we'll refund your money. It'll be back to you.
But it's probably easier to refund than it is to call back and collect.
Right. Yeah. And call them 5 times and have them blow you off or whatever, Yeah. I mean, that is really this thing about compliance. Compliance is huge within AI. because you're adhering to the processes. You're making the processes more transparent. It's easier to understand. I'll give you another example of compliance for patient compliance. When I was with Sonora Quest, we had we have patient service. We had patient service centers. There's like 80 of them around the Arizona market where people go in and get their blood drawn. However, we found that if a patient, when the patient left the office, if they went to go to one of our service centers from the doctor's office, there was a 25 to 30% chance that they just weren't going to go. Whereas if we actually would place a phlebotomist in the doctor's office, so the doctor could say, hey, go see Mary before you go out. She's 2 doors down, get your blood drawn, and then we'll check you out and you can go. And we would actually see from a business side, if we had a customer, doctor's office that was doing $15,000 a month in revenue with us, the moment we had a phlebotomist in there, it went from 15,000 to 20,000 because we eliminated that quarter of the people that were just blowing it off instead of getting drawn.
Convenience.
It's
right?
about making it easy to comply.
Yeah. I love that. Let's I want to shift gears a little bit here, because I kind of want to understand some of your current issues maybe and pain points. So from the inside, what feels the hardest about running Ascent right now? Is it finding the right clients? Is it scaling delivery, or educating the market on what you can actually do?
You know what? It's actually for us, I find, and it's something that we're working on right now, this is something that we're coming and bringing out to the marketplace with some of our partners, is AI can be great, but if it isn't integrated and able to interact with the EMRs or the other infrastructure, then it's in a silo. It's worthless anyway. You need to actually have to have integration points. You actually have to be integrated so you can actually make it work and actually draw data. Because that was actually, we actually got a team from another former company that I worked with, that we built an interface for our AI engine that would just plug in to the EMR and pull it out, because we originally started it trying to make it work where we were going to work with the interface team from the hospital, and then we discovered this is a 150-bed hospital. They don't have the most complex and exotic IT teams. So we actually just said, we actually created it. We actually went to the EMR vendor, and actually it's a business, another aspect of our business we're starting, where we're going to be providing interoperability services down in in Latin America. And it's a matter of just saying, hey, how do you get that connectivity? How do you provide the glue that comes in between the seams to connect disparate databases, to connect different systems, to connect, it could be wearables, it could be different monitoring devices, it could be different diagnostic tools, it could be a whole host of things that if you're doing those things properly, or if you're connecting them, the more data you get, the more actionable insights that you can get, and actually make the patient experience and the overall business experience of the business that much better.
So you're helping healthcare organizations adopt AI and automation. Where do you see them getting stuck most often? Like data quality? Is it culture, compliance, or just something else?
I think there's always a bit, I don't want to dwell on it too much, but there's always the culture side of it, because people are just, they can be a little bit territorial about their thing. They want to think that their thing is the most important thing in the environment. That's where it's kind of, that's where I was saying earlier about how we help them figure out what they're missing out on by holding on to stuff.
Yep.
And then also the other thing too is it's also helping out that, another secret I have is I love to help promote other people when I'm in an environment, another job or prospect, and somebody's doing a great job. I like to tell their bosses what a great job that person's doing. I love it when I'm walking around in my businesses and people tell me what a great job my team's doing, and I make sure I celebrate it. I think that's one of the biggest things that's a miss today is people get so head down and doing things that they forget to celebrate when a successes happen. And so, I love to, sport up my team. I love telling other people when they have people that are on their teams that are doing great. Like everybody, like I said, I'm a glasses 3/4 full kind of guy, but I think, 98% of the people out in this world, they want to take care of their families. They want to have a career. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to enjoy their lives. They worry about their wives and kids and family members and everything. And I believe that 98% of the people want to go to work and whatever they're doing, do a great job. And so if you can help them do that and make their lives and world a little bit better, that's a win.
Yep, absolutely. You're right, spot on. And a lot of times we don't recognize that in the workforce. If you do come across, or even just as a person walking around, even at Walmart, that person who took the extra mile to come help you find the product, it's great to share their accomplishments, as minor as it may be to you. It could be a major accomplishment to hear that from somebody at random, right? That's more people did that, I'm sure there'd be a much happier workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
So let's pull back at, given your background in this large scale operation, especially at SnorQuest, what insufficiencies in today's healthcare system still drive you a little crazy?
The fact that there are still siloed or disparate systems that aren't working and talking to each other. The fact that there's data that are different places that if people actually had the access to it or actually knew it was there, that they could do their jobs that much more effectively.
My wife and I talk about this a lot, that, sometimes we wish hospitals and their information could be transferred much easier back and forth. Why do they have to be under, and I have to get discs still to go take over? I completely understand and relate when it says, I wish things would communicate a lot better.
Well, the thing is part of it's understandable because, it doesn't make it right. But, with HIPAA and all the various things, people are so, and again, they need to be very almost paranoid about, someone accessing their data in an unauthorized manner. When a data breach is like minimum of $50,000, or you talk about patient data getting out somewhere. When I was out doing the UCLA Medical Center thing, you talk about crazy. there were a couple of nurses that got fired because they were taking patient information on like Hollywood famous people and selling it to TMZ or whatever.
Just to make a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just
If
like,
identity theft was a real business, it'd be the first $1 trillion business.
yeah. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, you know, and somewhere along the way, you know, people like that, I like to say they're the 1 or 2 percenters. There's something else in their world that's going sideways, you know. But
on the business side that you're currently with, what keeps you up at night? Is it pipeline consistency, talent, regulatory uncertainty, or pace of AI change that you're constantly trying to keep up?
I think I think there's a lot with regulatory that worried about that, but also the rate of change is crazy. I don't know that it keeps me up, but we're very hyper aware of it because the way the things are getting so much faster, what you might do today and think, oh my God, this is a game changer. Or if someone could do this, this would be a game changer. And then there could be someone else out there that's actually doing it right as you're thinking about it. So the message that I have for people is, don't chase after all the shiny objects that are out there. But if something within your business is lined up with the goals and the vision that you have, be prepared and make your organization agile enough that you can strike quickly and take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of you.
That's great advice. We're constantly having that same battle where, you know, it's the fear of implementing. You know, we're all waiting for the next best thing. It is a lot comparable to technology and cell phones, where you buy, you know, the newest one today and tomorrow it's outdated. Yeah. But I think a lot more people fear being left behind with the technology, that they are constantly on that. I'll take advantage of the next one and the next one, and then they never do, and that's how they get left behind.
Yeah.
You know what? Looking at your business as a whole from that 30,000 foot view, what would you, if you could, wave that magic wand to make everything go smoother or work immediately? What would that be right now that you would change first?
I think the biggest thing for me would be, it's something that we're working on or evaluating partnerships and things on right now, is the connectivity and the ability to interact with other disparate systems. How is there a better way? Is there like almost like a universal translator that allows different systems to talk? We actually at Quest, we actually had a SonorQuest. We had a thing called Care 360, and it would actually allow all the physician office EMRs to plug into it, so that we could actually send traffic on lab results and stuff out. And this was back 2011, 2012, when high tech and everything was coming out, and meaningful use and all the craziness where people were still using paper medical records, and but they were using a spreadsheet, or they were using some very basic EMR that couldn't talk to anything. So in order to, I give them credit for that. I mean, they made it so the money was there. So if they made the investment, they recouped a lot of their investment and made it easier for healthcare to, go paperless and become more integrated with health information exchanges and things like that. But still have a long way to go. And, with all the stuff that's out there, everybody has a great idea. So, but I think when you have things like HL7 and FHIR and some of the different things from an interfacing protocol standpoint, it makes it a little easier for people to do that kind of stuff. So I would just say we don't want to smother creativity, but at the same time having some protocols and standards so people could say, if I'm designing it, I should be doing it this way. So based upon a standard so people can work and interact with. I like to say, we all need to work and play well with each other. It's like, so that would be, that's my thing is, and then I like to say, the other thing that keeps me up at night, my dad had an old saying, he'd say the enemy of great is good. So, what is it that I don't know? What is it that I'm walking past right now? So, stuff like this is great because you're getting to know people, you're getting to learn, you're figuring out what's going on out there. And, I am not shy about having people come in and share ideas with me. I want to know. I honestly, as a leader, I think one of the things that I'm confident in myself with, and I think is different, is I want people. I want people that are around me that are as talented or more talented than me. I want people that I can. I say, hey, I have on my pain management side of the house, I have a director of nursing. She's absolutely fantastic. And she's actually became a nurse, like a licensed nurse, registered nurse almost 2 years ago. She's my director of nursing. But before she did that, she had another career. She had a bachelor's and master's in psychology. And for 20 years, she worked as a corrections and parole officer.
Wow.
So, so it's kind of like with that skill set, she's all about dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So when it comes to regulatory and stuff, she is perfect. I couldn't ask. She is so much into process and procedure and what needs to be done to do things the right way. I've been around many DONs or directors of nursing, and just in that alone, she smokes them all. I'm grateful.
Yeah, that's it's not a woman I don't think I would want to mess around with.
And you know what? She is the nicest person, but I'll just say to her, hey, what do you think? And she goes, Dave, and she give me that look like, you're getting close to the edge. I was like, okay, I'm walking it back, so.
Well, for the finalize, kind of wrap up, I got one more question for you, but for founders and executives listening, what's the boldest version of your vision? If Ascent fully succeeds, how will healthcare look and feel different because of you guys in the market?
Healthcare will engage the patient so they feel confident in their care, and they're also proactively taking ownership in their care. And also, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy for them to move and maneuver around in healthcare. that they're also able to share the data with the people that they need to, while it's also being protected from the people that we don't want touching their information. And the ability to, that it's portable. So if somebody moves, that they go to someplace else, that they can plug right back into the healthcare system. It should be an information continuum, where there's a continuum of information, and people with the appropriate permissions can actually just come in and pick, I need this information, I need this to do my job. But it's there available for everybody. But it's done in a manner that keeps the information safe.
Love that. It's been incredible listening to you, your approaches to technology, your fearlessness to attack a market that already is just, it's fearful, it's scary. People don't want to go into it. They don't want to make those changes, but you guys have just done an incredible job. I want to thank you so much for taking the opportunity to be with us today, to allow our listeners to just hear a little bit of behind the scenes from somebody with so many years of experience. And, finally, I'll thank you again for your service. All the members out there who are military in all the different branches, we thank you guys and girls for everyday execution. If you guys need anything, I'll definitely make a list on here for contact points for Mr. English. Any final words before we hop off?
I had the honor to spend some time with some high school students at my old high school back in Ohio last fall. And I told these kids, like I told earlier, be of service to others, because it will help get you out of your head, and you'll be able to be that much better as a person. You're going to learn so much more. And then finally is, the only things that I've ever truly regretted in my life are the things that I didn't try.
Love it. Service others, take the leap of faith.
Yep, that's it.
Incredible. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us here on Behind the Desk and In Depth with CEOs, VPs, business leaders, and innovators around the world. Until next time, thank you.